I'm Madeline Harvey, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. In today's video, we're going to get real, and we're going to talk about how to unlock your real voice. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. The video that you're about to see was taken as a clip from a live lesson that was shot earlier today. If you'd like to watch the entire live, then click on that join button below and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If that's really late or wicked early, fear not. You'll also have access to our members only area with over 70 hours worth of vocal instruction. So again, just click that join button. It's only $4.99 a month. And your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content just for you. You ready to get started? Here we go. Am I in my most authentic voice? How do I connect to my real voice? How do I unlock what's real for me as a singer? So I just want to say again, hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new, we're so very, very excited to have you today. We do these lives every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're really grateful that you'll be able to be with us. But if not, we hope that you'll check us out a little bit later. And also, we've just launched a new Skillshare module. It's called Increase Your Vocal Endurance. We've got parts 1 and part 2. So just dive right on in. Here we go, guys. So I want to start this segment with just more of a question. Today's conversation will be very question-oriented. Our objective is to unlock our real voice. Well, that kind of presupposes a couple of things. One is that our real voice is sort of locked. It's hidden from us deep inside of ourselves somewhere. And the other element is our real voice. So I just want to connect with those two things real quick. I want to ask you guys, how do you know when you're not in your real voice? I'm looking for very specific sensations that we can draw upon as a conversation. How do you know? Ask yourself this right now. How do I know when I'm not being real in my voice? What kind of sensations are present? What kind of emotions am I feeling? What kind of frustrations am I encountering? How do I know? What kind of feedback do I get from my body that lets me know that I'm working counter to what is real and true and authentic for me? I'll give you guys just a minute to chime in with those. But I want to give it some thought as a conversation before we get going. So again, how do you know that you're in your not authentic voice? What's that feel like? Let's be very specific. We have to be precise with this because this will frame our start place. So I'll just go ahead and jump in. So when we are, here we go. Oh, Colleen, I sound bad, LOL. I feel you on that. Kimberly says, I fatigue easily. Yes, all that's true. It's like there's some sort of force that's shutting you off from your most authentic voice. So we're gonna go over that today. Molly says, I think feeling tension is one for me. Very good, very good. It's just the process is just not unfolding easily. Like that's your big tell right there. I know that I'm not in my most authentic real voice when I have to work really hard at it. If you've got to work really hard at it, you're doing something else. Or if your voice fatigues really easy, you're working against yourself in some way. I think emotionally for me, it felt more like frustrating because I didn't feel honest. It didn't feel real. It felt almost like a characterization, like a mask I could put on and take off. And I wanted to be more connected to myself. So that's our start place. I want you to always check in with yourself. If you are working, especially if you're working as an artist, as a musical artist, you have to check in with yourself because you are building a sound that will represent you as a brand. And if you're working counter to yourself, your career is going to be that long. It's going to be so short because you're going to have to, the demand for your voice is so intense. And if you're working counter to yourself, you can injure quite easily if you're singing all the time. My so-called life says, I feel like the anxiety is in control instead of the anxiety of just being there, but being in the background, not in control. It feels kind of jerky instead of flowing. Very good. These are all this very, very good feedback, guys. I want you to check in with this every now and again. When you're learning something new about your voice, let's say we're doing a voicing, or a placement or something like that, register, then ask yourself immediately, how can I integrate this into my real voice? Because we've got 6 major things that keep us from not really knowing our own real voice. And truth be told, there's probably more than 6, but we're going to give some attention to 6 today. And I'm going to start off with probably they're all kind of big, but in my experience, the biggest frustration for me. And it's not that you're not in your real voice already. I just want to say that. If your sound is coming out of your mouth when you sing, that's you. Can't be someone else, right? It is you. But you know what I mean when there's that, it's me, but it's not me. So there is an experience of your voice that's present, but not the experience of your whole voice. Now, I just really want to draw attention to that. Whole voice. We're looking for a whole, full-bodied experience with the voice. As we learn to do that, sometimes what's best is for us to sort of learn pieces of the voice, little pieces of the voice. Let's say we're working on a pharyngeal resonance. Nay, 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 nay. And we're playing around with that pharyngeal resonance. And let's just say you like that resonance and you decide to stick with just that one voicing. Well, that's fine, but ultimately it's going to make your sound kind of one-dimensional. It's only got that one tonality to it. So a lot of times when people struggle with their singing, it's because they only know pieces of their voice. They're not accustomed to putting their voice together. So here's where I'd like to start today. This is really an essence of resonance. And I'm going to try to do this relatively quickly because we've got 5 more items on our list to get to. But when you're playing with your resonance, it's really important to think you want whole head resonance. Now, we want a whole body resonance, that's true. But where we really start to cut the voice into pieces, it's because the tonality in the head gets fractured. One piece gets overemphasized while other pieces don't get any love or attention at all. So what I want you to do is just go ahead and close your mouth. And then I just want you to blow some sound through your nose, like a hum. Good. Now you should feel that the bulk of that resonance is happening in your nose, even though it's a lower pitch. It's that A right there. Good. Now, as we're going to drop the jaw just a little and see if we can blend some of the resonance into the mouth, but we want it to be shared. We don't want to go from nose to mouth, like, see how it just dropped? And as it dropped, so did the pitch a little bit, being honest. So we want to go, there's a shared resonance. Now I'm being really generic and simple about it by just going nose, mouth right now, because there are spots within the nose, spots within the mouth that we can get really specific with. But here's where we're going to immediately start to feel that whole body experience. We want to be satisfied. We want to be fulfilled when we sing. We want to feel like that sound is representative of the way that we're feeling, right? So we're just going to do a handful of pitches. Same thing. We'll start in the nose, blow it through your nose. Hear that influence with the influence of the nose and the mouth. Good. Yeah, that sounds, and that, like, I like the quality of that sound. If I just went, ah, kept it in my nose, or kept it compressed in my nose. Or if I go, no, now it's falling in my throat and in my chest and the back of my mouth. So we want to really foster this whole head sharing experience. So it may be helpful for you to disregard words like head voice and chest voice. Now that depends entirely on you. Some singers are so connected to those words and they're so connected to placing the voice that they're trying to put the voice where they want it to be instead of where it naturally occurs. So let's try middle C. Now, if you guys have been with me for a while, you already know that we're kind of walking towards that nasal port. So what you're going to hear is that the sound is going to start to take on a slightly more nasal dominance. Now, I don't mean it's going to sound nasal. I just mean it's going to start to take on more nasal dominance because we're going up in the head. Like this doesn't feel like I'm not putting it in head voice. I'm not putting it in chest voice. I'm just letting my own natural, real voice just sort of relax and come through. Let's do two more. Yeah, feel that? We just a little bit over, yeah, a little bit over half. I don't even know where we started. I forget where we started. But we want to feel that we're starting in our nose and then we're sharing that resonance. Now, why? Why do you guys think the nose? Why do we have to aim for the nose? It's a tricky question. We don't want to necessarily sound nasal unless that timbre is really sort of the acoustic of our skull. But the reason we want the nose is because the nose is the pressure valve for the whole mechanism. Your nose can handle pressure. Let me tell you, we sneeze, we can handle that pressure. Our throats cannot. Mabel's one in, so one second, guys. Hold on. And now she's gone. Okay. So as you're playing with your sound, just play around, check in with where your voice feels the best, the most grounded, the most balanced, and make sure that you've got an influence. I'll use that word influence. You want to hear at least the presence of the nose and the presence of the mouth. Unless you are singing way in the fringes of things, and that's not much music at all. But that's the number one thing. People don't necessarily feel that they can feel their own real voice because they don't necessarily understand how their resonators work as a complete system. So if you just go ahead and incorporate that in your work, it'll be so built into your execution of your voice that it's habitual. It's like you'll go ahead and blend those resonances and have that influence right away. Now, even in my speaking, you can hear there's influence of nose, there's influence of mouth. And I, like Lucinda said, the biggest compliment I've ever been given was your singing voice sounds like your speaking voice. That's exactly what we want. That's what we want to do. Most of us speak with a sort of shared resonance. And some of us don't. Like some of us have cartoony voices. Some of us need to work on our speaking voices. But for the most of us, we speak with a shared resonance. We want to make sure that is foremost in our minds, that our real voice equals our full, whole voice. So we've got to stop being preferential, let's say, to just chest voice or just head voice. We've got to really go, I want my voice to work as a unit, as a complete unit. So number 2, I think at some point we will all be guilty of this, and that is